Let's turn in our Bibles to the book of Esther, the book of Esther, chapter 6 and verse 1. I'm reading from NASB. This is the book of Esther, chapter 6 and verse 1. During that night, the king could not sleep, so he gave an order to bring the book of records, the chronicles, and they were read before the king. I'll read that again. During that night, the king could not sleep, so he gave an order to bring the book of records, the chronicles, and they were read before the king. So, a little bit of context here. I know we all may be familiar with this, but just to give you some context. So, Mordecai is a Jew in a foreign land, he's an alien in a foreign land, and he was a commoner, someone without any influence or any sort of power. And he happened to hear a plot against the king. And so he carries that news to Esther, who then carries it to the king. And so the king's life is saved. During that time, we have this ruler in the kingdom, Haman. Now, Haman was the second in command almost. And he is mentioned in chapter 3, verse 10 as the enemy of the Jews. Now, when everyone would bow down to Haman, Mordecai alone would not bow down to him. We know that. And so he risked his life and the life of his people. He faced opposition and threat, but he took his stand. He did not give in. And then Haman initiates a plan against the Jews. The plan is that all people, all the Jews in the land, young and old, would be killed. And that plan, he takes it to the king, and the king approves it. It becomes the law of the land. And so a date is fixed, the 13th day of the 12th month. So from the time the law is passed, they have 12 months before this order is executed. Now, when the Jews hear this, Esther and Mordecai and the Jews, they begin fasting and praying. But Haman, because he really was very vindictive, wanted to get rid of Mordecai even before that. So there's a plan made. He built a gallows so that Mordecai is hung. And so he goes to he plans to go to the king the following day to ask for his approval so that Mordecai is hung and he is killed. However, that night before the next morning, God disturbed the king's sleep. And that's why it says, during that night, the king could not sleep. So he gave an order to bring the book of records, the chronicles, and they were read before the king. When Esther and Mordecai did what they should inside the palace by fasting and praying, God did what they could not. This verse reminds us of two things. Number one, our timing is in God's hands. Number one, our timing is in God's hands. You know, it was 4 years since Mordecai saved the life of the king, and it was forgotten. Nobody remembered it. 4 years passed. But God did not forget it. And he made sure that the king remembered this at that specific night. Psalm 31, verse 15 says, "My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and from those who persecute me." So, why do we worry? Acknowledge and tell God today and say, Lord, my time, our times are in your hand. Tell God that, Lord, my times are not in the hands of my boss. My times are not in the hands of the so-called powerful governments. It's not in the hands of any other influence, but my times are dictated by you and you alone. Say that out loud today. They are in your hands alone. Make this your praise. Number two, the titans in our life are in God's hands. Titans meaning the powerful, the influential, the people who can wield power and dictate terms. The titans in our life are in God's hands. You know, King Ahasuerus ruled from, it says, from Ethiopia to India, over 127 provinces. It also says that anybody who would enter his presence without authorization, there was a risk of him or her being put to death. That's the punishment of just entering the presence of the king. Now, and also whatever he says would become the law. Now, who would dare influence such a person? How can anyone possibly influence such a man? And least of all, how can a commoner, an alien like Mordecai, influence such a man? But King Ahasuerus was but a tool in God's hands. Proverbs 21:1 says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Like the rivers of water, he turns it wherever he wishes." Like the streams of water, he turns the king's heart wherever he wishes. Can you think about it? Who is the titan in our life? Who are the so called people who wield power or who try to influence us? And do you feel powerless in a world full of, powerful people all around? Believe this, that the Lord turns their hearts wherever he wishes. So, have you faced any injustice in the past? Have you, um, experienced any injustice? And has God turned things around for you in a very mysterious way? Take this opportunity today and just give a word of thanks to God. Stand up and worship Him today. Are you facing any injustice right now? Are you going through a challenge right now? Do you feel that no one cares? Do you feel that, no one appreciates? Haman made a plan for tomorrow, but God acted tonight, and how he changed things. And on the very same gallows that Haman built to kill Mordecai, he was hung. And before that, God made sure that Mordecai was paraded on a horse held by Haman. Can you think about it? So, if you feel or if you are surrounded by uncontrollable circumstances today, know that God is in control and take this time to stand up and worship Him. Our timings are in His hand. Are you worried about the titans in your life? You don't need references, you don't need recommendations. The titans in our life are in His hands. So please take this time, stand up and worship Him because our God is in control. Take this time.